Welcome to another Tracking Trends with Kristen Mason Coreas, owner of the Homes by Mason team. I do normally do this on Thursday, but Thursday this week was Thanksgiving. So I am here today, Friday, November 28th, to give you the update on what is happening in real estate in Northern Virginia and beyond. I am beyond today. You might notice I am actually in my parents' home in Massachusetts. And that's where I am today, learning a little bit about the real estate market up here. And of course, my parents' home phone rang. So hopefully I just turned that off. All right, let's talk about real estate in Northern Virginia. We'll focus on Northern Virginia. Mortgage rates, that's always where we start. So interest rates actually did come down coming into the Thanksgiving holiday. Oftentimes this time of year, mortgage rates do come down. Sometimes that happens in order to spur buyer activity. So they came down just a touch, not a lot. 0.03 is what they came down to, 6.23. So low sixes is where we are these days, and compared to where we've been in the past year, that's about as almost as good as it gets for the past year. So low sixes. There is some anticipation that interest rates will continue to come down. The Fed will meet in December. There's talk that they may lower their interest rate, which then may also have an impact on the mortgage interest rates, but we just don't know. So expect right now low sixes is kind of where we should be. In national economic news, as of yesterday, we did pull this data yesterday, jobless claims actually unexpectedly fell to their lowest point since mid-April, which was a bit confusing. I think we all kind of thought jobless claims might go up, but with the holidays coming, jobless claims are literally like people actually like saying they're jobless, applying for unemployment. And so maybe around the holidays, people just stop doing that. I don't know. That's speculation on my part. So consumer confidence did slip this month as households perhaps are more worried about jobs and finances. And so what else? Retail sales also rose less than expected in September, hinting at consumer fatigue. So Q3 growth, however, does still look solid. So some mixed economic news. As I've said here before, this is a bit outside my scope and my lane, but generally, when the economy is doing well, then it's okay for interest rates to be higher. When the economy is not doing so well is when sometimes we'll see those interest rates come down to help spur more activity in the housing market, because the housing market is actually really good for the economy. When people buy homes, they also go to Home Depot and Lowe's and Home Goods and all of those places, and they hire contractors. And so home purchasing is really good for the economy. And so that's kind of what goes on there. Pending home sales did increase in October by just about 2%. And that is, perhaps due to lower mortgage interest rates, and also an increase in housing inventory. There's been more choices for buyers. And purchase mortgage applications were up 8% for the week, 20% higher than they were a year ago. In the Mid-Atlantic region, there was a bit of a slowdown. Purchase contracts fell below last year, 1.7% less contract activity than last year in the Mid-Atlantic region. Showings were also down for the week, about 1% from the same week last year. New listings also slightly lower than 2024. So this doesn't worry me. It is the holiday season, right? It was Thanksgiving yesterday. So typically most of these things do come down this time of year. And interesting enough, in our DC metro area, we actually saw an increase. Where did we see an increase? Well, just in active listings. I thought I saw it. So again, this is reflective of a holiday season. So this does not worry me. Showings were flat compared to last year in the DC metro area and down 12% from last week. Does not worry me. Now, again, this does not show Thanksgiving. So this is the week ending November 23rd. And so again, I expect that those showings will probably be down week over week. Purchase contracts down almost 9% from last year and down about 2.6% from last week. Median time to contract up 37 days is the median time to contract. And actually, when you see our local data, it's 41 days. That's a long time in my world. So that is a trend for sure that we've seen, and generally good for buyers that you have some more breathing room. New listings, only 874 new listings in this past week. up 4% from last year and down week over week by almost 9%. Median list price flat, basically up 0.8%. Maybe that's a little bit higher than flat from last year. So prices are still generally strong, down 2% from last week. That's okay. This time of year, we do see that. Active listings up 34.5% from last year and down 4% from last week. So nothing in there terribly surprises me. Our hyper local market, which includes Arlington, Alexandria, Fairfax, and Falls Church, week over week, we were down in both supply and demand, down quite a bit, from last week, and less than the average. But it's the season, right? And this is data that runs up through Tuesday of this week. So it does not include Thanksgiving, but leading right up to the days before Thanksgiving, of course, it makes sense, people, right? Less new listings, less new contracts. That makes sense. It doesn't worry me. And this is year over year. So compared to the same week last year, which would be the week before Thanksgiving of last year, we had actually more supply and slightly less contracts than last year. The demand to supply ratio is last year, look at what it was last year, 146%. Like, that's crazy. And that's when you compare the number of new listings compared to the number of new contracts is how we get the demand to supply ratio. So a lot more homes were purchased and put on the market in 2024, but also in 2025. Also this past week, we saw more contracts written than new listings. So the buyers are out. And if you're a buyer thinking about buying, I like this time of year always for buyers. I call this bargain hunting season. So I think it's a good idea for buyers to be out there. Call us if you're thinking about it. I've got 2 buyer agents ready to help you. Days on market also up. I think 41 is what I told you earlier, right? 41 days in our hyperlocal area is the average days on market right now. And interest rates, lower than they've been in general for the past year. That is your market update for this week. Thank you for watching. I hope you all had a great Thanksgiving. I was able to enjoy some time with family, which is nice. And anytime you want to have more or deeper conversations about what is happening in the market and how it may impact you and your decisions, please contact me. 571-210-1866. It's all right. Sometimes I talk too fast. Have you noticed? You can call me or text me on that number, and you can email me at kristen@homesbymason.com, or there should be a link down below where you can get on my calendar directly. If you find value in these market updates, please give me a comment, give me a like, give me a follow, share it with your friends, and keep coming back. Thanks for watching. Have a great week, and I'll see you next week.